8시 34분이 지나고 있는데 어제 뉴욕타임즈를 전체를 조금씩 읽겠습니다. Business, battlefield, drought, and disaster averted. As the U.S. aquifers decline, California region thrived by imposing fees on water. Aquifers. The strawberry, blackberry, and raspberry field of the Pajaro Valley stretch along the coast of California's Monterey Bay, jeweled with fruit from April through early December. The valley's vast stretches of farmland are ruffled with emerald lettuce, Brussels sprout, and varieties of kale, bringing in roughly $1 billion in revenue to the region each year. All that abundance isn't cheap. While American farmers elsewhere have watered their crops by freely pumping the groundwater beneath their land, growers in Pajaro must pay hefty fees for irrigation water, making it one of the most expensive places to grow food in the United States, if not the world. The cost up to $400 per acre foot, a standard measurement equal to the amount of water covering 1 acre for 1,000 square meters, 1 foot deep, 30 centimeters. The fees bring in $12 million a year, which is used to recycle, restore, and conserve the region's groundwater. Water can be free anywhere because you can't run a sustainable water supply without pricing it. Border surge strains emergency workers. When called for help come, the politics don't matter. Our job is to save lives. We help who can, and then we have to get everything back in service and be ready for the next call. The U.S. authorities have also stepped up deportation with more than 460,000 migrants, including 75,000 families with children, flown to their home countries since May. The drop-off in crossing has already lifted the weight of the town of Eagle Pass. Mr. S. said the recent closing of an international crossing known locally as Bridge 1 crippled the local economy that benefit from a steady stream of Mexicans who legally cross every day to eat at restaurants, fill the gas tanks, and commute to work. The closing over the holiday season cost the city about $1 million, Mr. S. said. I'm going to die. Terrible passengers on damaged plane. A moment of hysteria broke out when a few people stood up, yelling that there was a hole in the back. It felt like an explosion. Then the plane rattled. The oxygen mask dropped, and the light flickered. A white vapor whipped through the cabin. Some people yelled, others were disoriented. So began the harrowing minutes aboard Alaska Airlines flight 1282 when a door-sized section near the rear of the plane blew up 10 minutes after the aircraft took off from Portland, Oregon on Friday night, leaving some passengers initially confused and others utterly terrified. The first thing I thought was, I'm going to die, said the V-22 passenger from Portland. And 33 was sitting in 12A, a window seat near the front of the Boeing 737 MAX 9. He tried to stay calm. Still, he began typing out text to his mother and girlfriend. There was something wrong on the plane, he told them, adding, I love you guys. Yeah. It was honestly horrifying. Miss L said, I almost broke down, but I realized I needed to remain calm. Mr. H said he felt a range of emotion. He was keeping his head on a swivel, constantly looking back and forth. The woman next to him was in tears. She asked him if he would hold her hand. He said, and he did. But overall, everyone was relatively eerily calm. Mr. H said, though he added some more silently freaking out. No, that's not Taylor Swift selling the cookware. Major advances in AI have made it far easier to produce fake celebrity ads. Taylor Swift's affinity for Elle is real. Her collection of the cookware has been featured on a Tumblr account dedicated to the pop star's home decor. Through analysis of a kitchen published by Variety and in a Netflix documentary that was highlighted by Elle's Facebook page. What is not real? Ms. Swift's endorsement of the company's product, which have appeared in recent weeks in ads on Facebook and elsewhere, featuring her face and the voice. In several ads, Ms. Swift's cloned voice addressed Swifties and said she was thrilled to be handing out free cookware set. How 2024 can be a leap forward for artificial intelligence. The field is set to advance at a rapid rate and spread into the physical world. By pinpointing patterns in data, such as Wikipedia articles, books, and digital text culled from the internet, a neural network can learn to generate text on its own. These technologies can absorb tremendous amount of data, and as they absorb data, they can learn how the world works. Multimodal chatbot that will get stuff wrong, just as the text-only chatbots that make mistakes. Tech companies are working to reduce errors as they strive to build a chatbot that can reason like the humans. Soon Trump will be attacking the Fed. Forewarned, is forearmed. It will be bad to face the bullying. Interest rates are heading down. Maybe not today, and maybe not tomorrow, but soon, and for the rest of this year at least. Why? Because there are very good reasons for the Federal Reserve, which controls the short-term interest rate. That's how it makes monetary policy. To start reversing the sharp rate hikes it carried out at the beginning in March of 2022. There's a vigorous debate about whether those rate hikes were excessive, which I'm not going to litigate here. Whatever you think about past policy, the case for cuts going forward is very strong, and I hope the Fed will act on that case. So we can expect the howls from Trump and his allies that politics, not economics, is driving the coming rate cuts, even though Trump himself appointed Jeremy Powell, the Fed's chair. Why do we know this will happen? Partly because paranoia is the MAGA world's normal condition. It sees the sinister conspiracies everywhere. Beyond that, Trump and his allies constantly engaging in projection, assuming that their opponents are doing or will do what they themselves would do or have done, like weaponizing the Justice Department for Trump's own political ends. Fear and favor, Trump's approach to building support. His disciplined operation tracks the endorsement from elected Republicans. On his last day as president on January 20th, 2021, Donald J. Trump stood in a snapping wind and waved goodbye to relatives and supporters before he took his final flight on Air Force One back to Mar-a-Lago, his Florida residence and private club. No elected Republican of any stature showed up at Joint Base at Andrew for the bleak farewell. Mr. Trump at that moment was a pariah among Republican elite. People are looking around. Hell, look at all these endorsements. That doesn't happen overnight. He made it known he was eager to intervene in Republican primaries. Given his cut the following among Republican voters, his endorsement at times packed the power to end the race. A permission structure. It's very important that the president and myself work closely, not only on his re-election, but also, importantly, what we can do here to win back the United States Senate, Mr. D said in an interview. Women who aren't pregnant stockpile abortion pills. People were obviously paying attention and seeing the threat. Study find this big increase in practice as legal access to procedure disappears. The biggest spikes in demand that follow the events that raised doubts about the future availability of abortion. Those requesting advance orders were more likely than those already pregnant to be 30 or older, white and childless, and to live in urban neighborhoods with a lower poverty rate than the national average. That might be partly because aid access offered free or reduced price services to pregnant patients who need financial assistance, while those requesting advance supplies were expected to pay the full $110 cost, Dr. A said. Abortion opponents object to the practice and claim abortion medication is dangerous. Abortion rights supporters say prescribing it in case of future need, like the antibiotics for travelers' diarrhea, increase access and underscore that the pills are safe, as many studies show. Taking a winter cue from the squirrels in my birdhouse to make it through the gathering disquiet. I will need embodied connection. Just before 2023 gave way to 2024, my husband and I drove down a mountain talking about how to manage U.S. election year anxiety, specifically my election year anxiety. We had just spent a few days in a cottage in the woods, and we were jazzed on silence and stillness and the obligation to do nothing but work together among the trees to listen to the wind in the trees. We weren't making New Year's resolution exactly. We were feeling for ways to carry those days of calm into a troubling new year. I was proposing things like eating by candlelight every night or reading only poems after 5 p.m. My husband was proposing things like hiding my porn. For most of 2023, I managed to avoid poll-related panic by reminding myself that the election was still more than a year away. There were plenty of other calamities to worry about in the meantime: climate, biodiversity, war, gun violence, racism, healthcare access, and the persecution of my LGBTQ neighbors, just for starters. But looking beneath it all was understanding of how very much worse such troubles would get if autocrats took control of the American presidency in 2024. My husband is not very worried about the election. He trusted that American voters enter the polls. Yeah, he's able to check the news at night and only a moment later fall into the sleep of winter of the bears. I, on the other hand, will lie awake if I so much as glance at the headlines after the dark. I finally figured out who ChatGPT reminded me of as the mother of an 8-year-old, and that someone who'd spent the past year experimenting with generative AI. I've thought a lot about the connection between interacting with one and with the other. I'm not alone in this. A paper published in August in the journal Nature Human Behavior explained how, during its early stages, an artificial intelligence model will try lots of things randomly, narrowing its focus and getting more conservative in its choices as it gets more sophisticated, kind of like what a child does AI program do best if they start out like the weird kids, writes a developmental psychologist. But for now, it still needs adults' supervision, and whether the adults in the room are equipped to do that is up for debate. Just like how viciously we fight over how to socialize real children, whether, for example, access to a wide array of library books is good or bad. The real danger is not that AIs becomes sentient and destroy us all. Is that we may not be equipped to parent them because we are not mature enough ourselves. I believe we have found the lost palace of the living and the dead. Out of the bowl, goldfish grow into an environmental threat. Climate change may play a role. Yeah, because of the goldfish's ability to adapt to warming and poorly oxygenated waters, he added. How can we rebuild the trust? Geopolitical conflicts, extreme weather, an uncertain economy, a cost of living crisis, disinformation, and other global risks are fragmenting our societies. At the start of this new year, global leaders will come together in Davos. Business, government, academia, international organizations, and civil society will share their views across disciplines, sectors, and geographies. Together, they will build bridges for global security and shape the partnerships needed to boost economic growth, create good jobs, improve the health of our planet, manage rapidly advancing technology, and invest in the next generation. We welcome you to read the latest ideas emerging from the meeting, listen to the views of diverse leaders, and watch discussion live online. The gesture then hushed the decision. Movie review. Yet another film tackles the story of a plane crash followed by cannibalism. Filmmakers love survival stories, but there are aspects of the miracle in the Andes that pose special difficulties for any movie, not least because half-century on, the most notorious turn that events took will be well known to most viewers going on. The long haul proves trickier from a dramatic standpoint. The problem is no movie can really encompass the sheer enormity of the experience. A vintage vision is revived at a staggering cost. At the Review, Los Angeles, the restaging of a fair from 1987 aimed to recover the lost element of fun. What happened to fun in the clinical white of the gallery art that can be forbidding, aggrieved, elite that academic, shouldn't it also sometimes be joyous? Sports. Making NHL referees face the music may not help. People seem to think NHL referees aren't accountable, which couldn't be further from the truth. They take media question in basketball and football, so why not in hockey too? The sports of the world was buzzing last week with the debate about controversial officiating calls in the National Basketball Association and the National Football League. The officials at the center of the dispute were made available to the news media to explain their thinking. In the NBA, a pool reporter was able to ask Tony about the LeBron James' disputed three-point field goal on a potential game-tying shot in the Lakers' 108-106 loss December 30th to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cast as a talker, an actor draws on inner dialogue. Prep school memories drive Paul in role as a teacher in the Holdovers. His latest role as Paul in the Holdovers, a solitary and cantankerous New England boarding school teacher saddled with babysitting duty over Christmas break, add a number of memorable monologue to the actors. Book review, power of praise and the contradiction. The storm we made. Isn't every man a good man and a bad man? Asked C, the protagonist. Vanessa Chan's debut novel, The Storm We Made, which is set against the lead up to Japan's invasion and occupation of Malaya, now Malaysia, in World War II. The question posed by a mother to a general who is scheming to overthrow the British encapsulate the contradiction woven throughout the Chan's novel. This is a novel concerned with power, how it's given and taken. The music tempers a disquieting diagnosis. A reassess his priorities as he copes with a rare form of cancer. making a cooking resolution. These 3 recipes will get you started. Turn over a new leaf in the kitchen. If abiding by resolutions were as easy as setting them, perfection would be attainable, and the self-improvement section of the bookstore would be Cobweb City. Still, self-reflection can be a rewarding exercise at the beginning of a new year. What better place to start than in the kitchen, where you have to spend at least a little bit of time each day